Question 1. What is 18 plus 27 minus 9? Well, 18 plus 27 is 45, and 45 minus 9 is 36. Question 2. What is half of 144? That would be 72. Question 3. What is 15% of 80? Well, 10% is 8, and 5% is 4. So you do 8 plus 4, which is 12. Question 4. What is the smallest prime number greater than 90? The smallest prime number greater than 90 is 97. It must be an odd number, therefore it's 91, 93, 95, or 97. Or the odd numbers higher than that. But 91 is 7 times 13, and 93 is 3 times 31, and 95 is 5 times 19. So that leaves 97, which, upon being put through trial division, we find that it's a prime number. Question 5. What is the greatest common divisor of 84 and 36? The greatest common divisor of 84 and 36. Well, they're both on the 6 times table, and 84 is 14 times 6, and 36 is 6 times 6. But then we notice that we could divide 14 and 6 both by 2, so they are actually both on the 12 times table. They're both on the 12 times table and nothing higher, so 12 is the answer. Question 6. What is the least common multiple of 8, 12, and 15? The least common multiple of 8, 12, and 15. The answer to that would be 2 cubed times 3 times 5, which is 8 times 3 times 5, which is 24 times 5, which is 120. Question 8. If half of a number plus 7 equals 15, what is the number? So x over 2 plus 7 equals 15. So x over 2 equals 8. So x equals 16. That's the number. Question 9. What is the next term in the arithmetic sequence 4, 9, 14, 19? By looking at the gaps, you can see that it's going up in 5s. So after 4, 9, 14, 19 comes 24. Question 10. What is the next term in the geometric sequence 3, 6, 12, 24? A geometric sequence begins at a number and keeps on multiplying by the same number over and over. In this case, we begin at 3 and we keep on multiplying by 2. So we have 3, 6, 12, 24, and the next number is 24 times 2, which is 48. Question 11. What is the smallest number of straight lines needed to divide a plane into 7 regions? Okay, well, we certainly need less than 6. Less than 6. Because if you think about it, if I have 6 sticks in front of me, then I have 5 gaps between them, and then I also have 2 regions on the right and on the left, bringing the total to 7. So 6 is the upper bound, but the lower bound and the true answer is just 3. So you have 2 sticks like that, and then you have another stick cutting through them at the bottom, like the letter A, and that makes a region in the middle and 6 regions on the outside, so 7. Hello. Question 12. If a 3 by 3 by 3 cube is painted on the outside and cut into unit cubes, how many unit cubes have paint on exactly 2 faces? On exactly 2 faces. Okay, so a 3 by 3 by 3 cube has 27 mini cubes inside it. The one in the middle we can throw away completely, so that gives us 26 cubes on the outside, the exterior. Then we can throw away the 8 corners, so 26 minus 8, which is 18. And then we throw away the these sort of center cubes of each of the 6 faces, so 18 minus 6, which is 12. And that's the answer. Question 13. If a patch of lily pads doubles in area every day and covers a pond in 30 days, on what day is the pond half covered? Well, the patch of lily pads is doubling in area every day, and therefore the day on which it is half the area of the pond is exactly 1 day before it's the full area. So that would be day 29. Question 14. In a single elimination tournament with 16 players, how many matches are played to determine a winner? How many matches are played to determine a winner? Okay, so I need to put a note here because I've forgotten what single elimination means. I've forgotten the difference between single and double elimination. And that's fine. So question 14, I need to put a note, okay? Question 15. With 8 identical looking balls, one of which is heavier, what is the minimum number of balance scale weighings needed to guarantee finding the heavier one? Okay, so one of them is heavier than the others. Okay, so we put 4 on the left and 4 on the right, and the scale is unbalanced, so it must be in this set of 4. Okay, now we put 2 on the left and 2 on the right, and it's unbalanced again, and so it must be in this one. And then 1 on the left and 1 on the right. So 3 is the minimum. 3 is the minimum, it would seem. Okay. Hello. Question 16. What is the minimum number of moves required to transfer 4 discs in the Tower of Hanoi? The Tower of Hanoi. Okay, so what's the Tower of Hanoi? Well, I think that it has 3 sticks coming up out of the wooden board at the base, and then 4 discs, large, smaller, 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 like that. And then I think you have to rearrange them in some way, but I've forgotten how it works exactly. So I'll put this down on my notes. Question 16. Okay. Question 17. How many squares of all sizes are there on an 8 by 8 chessboard? Okay, so there are 64 unit squares on the chessboard. As for 2 by 2 squares, well, you have 7 along the top and 7 down the side. So there are 49 2x2 squares. And then there must be 36 3x3 squares. Okay, so the pattern is pretty obvious. You just add all the square numbers up to 64. So 1 add 4 add 9 add 16 add 25 add 36 add 49 add 64. So we do that now. So 1 add 4 add 9 add 16 is 30. And then 30 add 25 is 55. 55 add 36 is 91. 91 add 49 is 140. 140 add 64 is 204. Okay, question 18. If 10 people each shake hands once with every other person, how many handshakes occur? Okay, so person 10 does 9 handshakes, person 9 does 8 handshakes, and so on. And the total would be the 9th triangle number, which is 1 add 2 add 3 add 4 add 5 add 6 add 7 add 8 add 9. And if we go up in the triangle numbers and stop when we reach the 9th, we get 1, 3, 6, 10, 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21, 28, 36, 45. The answer is 45. Okay, question 19. If a snail climbs 3 feet up a 30-foot well each day and slips back 2 feet each night, on which day does it escape? Okay, on the first day it reaches up to the 3-foot mark on the well, but then at the night of that first day it slips down by 2 feet, but on the second day it reaches up to the 4-foot mark, and on the third day it reaches up to the 5-foot mark. So on day 28 it will reach up to the 30-foot mark on the well, and that's when it will escape, on day 28. Question 20. If a drawer contains plenty of black and white socks, what is the minimum number of socks you must draw blindly to guarantee a matching pair? So, the first drawer could be the first kind of sock, the first kind of sock. The second drawer could be the second kind of sock, but on the third drawer, you either have the first kind or the second kind, and therefore it's 3. You must make 3 withdrawals. Question 21. If a drawer contains plenty of black, white, and grey socks, what is the minimum number of socks you must draw blindly to guarantee a matching pair? Okay, well, if the drawer is conspiring against you somehow, you could withdraw. Yes, hello, how are you doing? You could withdraw a black and a white and a grey sock in any permutation of those. But then the 4 socks that you draw must match one of the colors that you've obtained so far, and so the answer is 4. Question 22. What is the minimum number of people needed to guarantee that at least 2 share a birth month? At least 2 share a birth month. Okay, Oh, wait, to guarantee. Okay. All right, let's think about this. Well, it would be 13. That's the minimum number to guarantee that they share a birth, that 2 share a birth month. Question 23. If a clock loses 2 minutes each day, how many days will it take to lose exactly 1 hour? Well, if it loses 2 minutes each day, that means it takes 30 days to lose an hour. Question 24. How many times do the hour and minute hands of an analog clock overlap in a 12-hour period? Okay, so are they starting off overlapped or not? Are they starting off overlapped or not? We'll say no. We'll say that they're not. So in the first hour they will overlap, and then the second. It really does depend on if you count the beginning and the end, but if you don't, then I think the answer is 11. But if you do, then it could be 13 potentially. Okay, question 25. What is the expected value of one roll of a fair six-sided die? The answer to this is 3.5. That's the expected value. Question 26. If two cards are drawn without replacement from a standard 52 card deck, what is the probability that both are aces? Both are aces. Okay, so they are drawn without replacement. Drawn without replacement. So the probability of getting a ace when you draw it first time round is 1 in 13, and then if you've drawn an ace the first time round, then that means that there are only 3 aces left. So it's 1 over 13 multiplied by 3 over 52, which is 3 over 13 times 52, and 13 times 52 is 676, so 3 over 676. Question 27, how many subsets does a set with 4 elements have? The answer is 2 to the power of 4, which is 16. You can visualize 4 light switches in a row, and each of them determines if an element is going to be included in the subset. And for 4 light switches, the answer is obviously 2 to the power of 4. Question 28. How many binary strings of length 4 contain exactly 2 ones? Contain exactly 2 ones. Okay, well, we have 1100, 1010, and 1001. And then you have 0110, 0101, and then finally 0011. So that brings the total to 6. Question 29. How many edges does a complete graph with 5 vertices have? Okay, so a complete graph with 5 vertices sort of looks like a pentagram, but it will have 10 edges. 5 making that sort of characteristic star shape, and then the 5 on the outside for the pentagon on the outside. Question 30. How many diagonals does a convex hexagon have? A convex hexagon have? Okay, so you can simply visualize it. You can simply visualize it. And the answer is 6. The answer is 6. Question 31. In a class of 30, if 18 play soccer, 12 play basketball, and 5 play both, how many play neither? How many play neither? Okay, so 5 play both, and therefore 13 play only soccer, and therefore 7 play only basketball. So 13 add 5 add 7 brings the total to 25, and 25 subtracted from 30 gives us 5. There are 5 who play neither. Question 32. Of 100 people, if 60 drink tea, 50 drink coffee, and 20 drink neither, how many drink both? Okay, so because 20 drink neither, 80 drink at least one. But we're told that 60 drink tea and 50 drink coffee. So we need to imagine 60 over here and 50 over here, and we need to imagine that their overlap occupies 80. Now, if the overlap had 10 in it, then it would be 70 for only tea, 10 for tea and coffee, and then 40 for coffee alone. So it would be 50, 10, and 40, which is 110. So that's obviously not right. But you can detect something here. If you now change it so that it's 30, then you have 30 who drink tea alone, 30 who drink tea and coffee, and then 20 who drink coffee alone. And that total is 80, and therefore the answer is 30. Question 33. If a father is currently 4 times as old as his son, and in 20 years he will be twice as old as his son, what is the father's current age? Okay, so currently he's 4 times as old as his son. Okay, so f equals 4s, and then f plus 20 equals 2s plus 40. So 20 equals minus 2s plus 40. So minus 20 equals minus 2s, so s is equal to 10. So I believe he's 10. So the father is currently 40, the son is currently 10. And in 20 years' time, the son will be 30 and the father will be 60. So the father is 40 and the son is 10. Question 34. If a mother is currently 3 times as old as her daughter and 10 years ago she was 5 times as old as her daughter, what is the mother's current age? So m equals 3d, and m minus 10 equals 5d minus 50. So minus 10 equals 2d minus 50. 2d equals 40, d equals 20. So I believe the mother is currently 60 years old and the daughter is 20. Yep, that's right. The mother is currently 60 years old and the daughter is currently 20. Okay, question 35. If Alice can paint a room in 3 hours and Bob can paint it in 6 hours, how many hours will it take them working together? So we assume that this is a parallelizable task. So Alice paints 1/3 of a room per hour. Bob paints 1/6 of a room per hour, and therefore their combined speed is 1/3 plus 1/6, which is half a room per hour. So how many hours will it take them to paint a whole room working together? The answer is 2 hours. Question 36. If a pipe can fill a pool in 6 hours and a drain can empty it in 12 hours, how many hours will it take to fill the pool with both open? So the pipe is filling the pool at a rate of 1/6 of a pool per hour. The drain is emptying it at a rate of -1/12 per hour, in the obvious way. And so 1/6 plus -1/12 is 1/12. So combined, they fill the pool at a rate of 1/12 of a pool per hour. So all in all, it should be 12 hours. Question 37. If two trains 300 kilometers apart travel toward each other at 70 and 80 kilometers per hour, after how many hours will they meet? So they're 300 kilometers apart, but their combined speed heading towards each other is closing the gap at a rate of 150 kilometers per hour. So 300 divided by 150 gives us the answer, which is 2 hours. Question 38. If a boat travels upstream at 8 kilometers per hour and downstream at 12 kilometers per hour, what is the speed in still water? Okay, so it's traveling upstream. So 8. All right. So it's true speed minus the river speed. So we're going to say S minus R equals 8. And S plus R equals 12, so I believe that the answer is 10. That the boat is traveling at 10 kilometers per hour, and the river, or rather the stream, is moving at 2 kilometers per hour. Question 39. If 5 machines make 5 widgets in 5 minutes, how many minutes do 100 machines need to make 100 widgets? This is a classic. The answer is simply 5 minutes. Question 40. If a bat and ball cost $1.10 and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, how many cents does the ball cost? Yes, this is another classic, and it costs 5 cents. Question 41. If 4 consecutive integers sum to 42, what is the largest integer? Okay, so for this one, I think it's 9, 10, 11, and 12, which add up to 42, and therefore the largest integer of those 4 consecutive integers is 12. Question 42. If 2 positive integers have sum 15 and product 56, what is the smaller integer? Well, the 2 integers in question are 7 and 8, as their sum is 15 and their product is 56, and therefore the smaller of the 2 integers is 7. Question 43. If 2 numbers have sum 10 and difference 4, what is the larger number? So x add y equals 10 and x take y equals 4. Put them together and you get that 2x is equal to 14. So x is equal to 7 and y is equal to 3. So the larger number is 7. If the average of 5 numbers is, question 44, if the average of 5 numbers is 20, what is their sum? Well, to find the average, you add up all the numbers and then divide by however many there are. And it says the average of 5 numbers is 20. Okay, so that means that 5 times 20 is their sum, which is 100. Question 45, what is the sum of the integers from 1 through 100? So this is a classic. The way to think about this is to pair the integers. Pair 1 with 100, 2 with 99, 3 with 97, and so on. Those pairs add up to 101 individually, and how many pairs are there? The answer is 50. You have 100 socks in a drawer, you can make 50 pairs out of it, so 50 times 101 is 5050. Question 46, what is the sum of the first 100 positive odd integers? The first 100 positive odd integers. Okay, so we could play a sort of similar game here. So the 100th positive odd integer should be 201. 201. So you pair them up, so you pair 1 with 201, 3 with 199, and so on. Each of the pairs sum to 202, and there are 50 such pairs, so 50 times 202, which is 10,100. Question 47, how many trailing zeros are there in 10 factorial? So trailing zeros are the zeros on the end of the number. And to contribute 0 to the end of a number in a big product, you must look for how many copies of 5 and how many copies of 2 there are. Now, for the number of 2's we have in abundance, a surplus, so we don't need to consider those, but we need to consider how many 5's there are that we end up multiplying by. And, oh, beg your pardon, this is actually a really simple one because it's just 10 factorial, and I actually know that, 3,628,800, and the answer is just 2. I was teaching you a general way. Question 48, how many positive divisors does 100 have? We can just enumerate them. 1 and 100, 2, 2 and 50, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, and then 10 in itself. And so the answer is 9. There are 9 positive divisors. Question 49, what is the smallest positive integer that has exactly 6 positive divisors? The answer appears to be 12. The answer appears to be 12, and its positive divisors are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Question 50, what is the smallest integer greater than 100 that is divisible by 3, 4 and 5? So that should be 60. It should be 60. Wait, it says greater than 100, right? Okay. So the answer to that is now 120. 120. Question 51. What is the least positive integer divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 5? So that should be 60 as well, because the addition of 2 in there adds no new information or constraints, because it already has to be divisible by 4. Question 52, what is the remainder when 2 to the power of 10 is divided by 10? 2 to the power of 10 is 1024, and so dividing that by 10, we get a remainder of 4. Question 53, what is the units digit of 7 to the power of 2023? So we need to only consider the powers of 7, which are 749, 343, 2401, and so on. The units end up in a cycle which goes 793, 793, and so on, a cycle of length 3. So we need to think of dividing 2023 by 3, and we find that the remainder is 1, and therefore it should end in a 7. It should end in a 7. Question 54. How many possible sequences of heads and tails are there when a fair coin is flipped 5 times? Okay, when it's flipped 5 times, this is the same question as how many ways are there to turn on and off 5 light switches, and the answer is 2 to the power of 5, which is 32. Question 55. If two fair 6-sided dice are rolled, what is the probability that the sum is 7? Now, this is the off diagonal in the addition table. In the addition table going up to 6 by 6. And that diagonal has 6 entries in it. So 6 out of 36, which is 1 out of 6. Question 56. If two fair 6-sided dice are rolled, what is the most likely sum? The answer is 7 as well. Question 57. In a standard deck of 52 playing cards, what is the probability of drawing an ace? That's 4 out of 52, which is 1 out of 13. Question 58. If a bag contains 4 red marbles and 6 blue marbles, what is the probability of drawing a red marble? The answer is 4 out of 10 or 2 out of 5. Question 59. If a number is chosen uniformly from 1 to 100, what is the probability that it is divisible by 10? Okay, if it's uniformly chosen and then we go from 1 to 100, there are 10 multiples of 10 between 1 and 100, and therefore it's 10 out of 100, which is 1 in 10. Question 60. If the probability of rain is 30%, what is the probability of no rain? We just apply the rule which says do 1 minus that probability, so we get 70%. Question 61. If the odds in favor of an event are 3 to 2, what is the probability of the event? Okay, so it appears to be 3 out of 5. Question 62. What is the median of the numbers 3, 7, 9, 12, and 20? Well, those numbers conveniently are already in order, and we need to only pick out the middle one. And there are 5, so that's extra easy. And the answer is simply 9. Question 63. What is the mode of the numbers 2, 3, 3, 5, 7, 3, and 8? The mode is the most frequently occurring of the entries, and that would be 3. Oh. Broken. Okay. Question 64. What is the mean of the numbers 10, 20, 30, and 40? So you just add them up and divide by 4. So that would be 100, and 100 divided by 4 is 25. Question 65. What is the range of the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, and 23? 4, 8, 15, 16, and 23. You do the maximum, take away the minimum. So the maximum in this case is 23, and the minimum is 4. So 23 minus 4 is 19. Question 66. If y equals 2x at 1 and x equals 3, what is y? So it's just a case of substitution. You plug in 3 where x is, so 2 times 3 plus 1 gives you y, and 2 times 3 plus 1 is 7. Question 67. If a rectangle is area 24 and perimeter 20, what is the length of its longest side? Alright, so we have a rectangle with an area of 24 and a perimeter of 20. So I think it's pretty obvious that it's a 6 by 4 rectangle. And the longest side in that case is 6. Question 68. If a square has perimeter 36, what is its area? So 36 divided by 4 is 9, so that's the side length of the square, and therefore its area is 9 times 9, which is 81. 81 square units. Question 69. What is the perimeter of a rectangle with length 12 and the width 4? So what you do is you do you add 12 and 7 to get 19, and then you times that by 2 to get all 4 edges, so 19 times 2 is 38. Question 70. If a cube has volume 64, what is its edge length? If a cube has volume 64 cubic units, then it is 4 by 4 by 4 cube, so its edge length is 4. Question 71. If the area of a circle is 16 pi, what is its radius? Remember that the area of a circle is pi r squared. And equating 16 pi to pi r squared and working out what r is, we find that r is 4. Question 72. In a right triangle with legs 3 and 4, what is the length of the hypotenuse? This is the famous 3, 4, 5 right triangle. But you could work out the hypotenuse using the Pythagorean theorem, in which case what you do is you just find the square root of 3 squared at 4 squared, which is the square root of 9 and 16, which is the square root of 25, which is 5. Question 73, if two angles of a triangle are 60 and 80 degrees, what is the third angle? So the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees, so you just do 60 at 80 to get 140, and 140 taken away from 180 is 40 degrees. Question 74, what is the slope of the line through the points 1, 2 and 3, 6? So you work out the change of y and then divide it by the change in x. So if it's 1, 2 and 3, 6, then the change in y is 6 take 2, and the change in x is 3 take 1, and 6 take 2 over 3 takes 1 over 3 take 1 is 4 over 2, which is 2. That's the slope. Question 75, what is the x-intercept of the line y equals 2x minus 8? The x-intercept, huh? What you do is you set y equal to 0. So if y is equal to 0, then 2x is equal to 8, and x is equal to 4. That's the x-intercept. Question 76, if f of x equals x squared minus 3x, what is f of 4? So you just simply sub in, or substitute in, x equal to 4, and if f of x is equal to x squared minus 3x, then it's 4 squared minus 3 times 4, which is 16 minus 12, which is 4. Question 77, if 3/5 of a number is 18, what is the number? Okay, so 3/5 of a number is 18. So that means 1/5 is 6, so 5/5 or the whole number should be 30. Question 78, if twice the number plus 3 equals 17, what is the number? So 2x plus 3 equals 17, then we just take away 3 from both sides, so 2x equals 14, and then divide both sides by 2, so x equals 7. 7 is the number. Question 79, if x squared equals 81 and x is negative, what is x? X is negative 9, because the square of negative 9 is 81. Question 80, what is the absolute value of minus 17? You just abandon the sign in front of the number and just pay attention to the magnitude of the number itself, and in this case it would be 17. Question 81, in a sequence that starts at 2 and adds 3 each time, what is the term that comes after 11? So the sequence would start 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, and so the answer is 14. Okay, question 82. In a sequence where each term is twice the previous term plus 1, what follows after 1, 3, 7, and 15? So the rule is double the previous number and add 1. So we just need to double 15 and add 1, and we get 31. Question 83, what is the 100th term of the arithmetic sequence 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on? So these are the even numbers. So we need to just find the 100th even number, which is 200. Question 84, what is the sum of all the even integers from 2 through 10? So that would be 2 add 4 add 6 add 8 add 10. Now 2 and 4 and 6 sum to 12. Add 8 and you get 20, and add 10 and you get 30. Question 85, what is the sum of all multiples of 3 from 3 through 30? So we need to be better with this. So that would be the sum of all the numbers from 1 to 10 multiplied by 3. The sum of all the numbers from 1 to 10 is 55, and 55 multiplied by 3 is 165. Question 86, how many ways can 5 people be seated in a row? So think of 5 books on a bookshelf. How many ways can you rearrange them? We use 5 factorial, which is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 120. Question 87, how many ways can 2 items be chosen from 5? So it's 5 choose 2. So we consult the beloved Pascal's triangle. And it's the row that goes 1, 5, 10, 10. So it goes 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. And it would be 5 choose 2, which is 10. Simply 10. Question 88. How many different orders are possible for 3 distinct books on a bookshelf? So that's 3 factorial, or 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. Question 89. What is the positive square root of 225? The answer is 15. Question 90. What is the sum of all prime numbers less than 20? So that's 2, 8, 3, 8, 5, 8, 7, 11, 12. That's the sum of 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, and 19. So 2, 3, 5, and 7 sum to 17. Plus 11, you get 28. Plus 13, you get 41. Plus 17, you get 58. Plus 19, you get 77. Okay, question 91. What is the smallest prime factor of 91? Well, 91 is 7 times 13, and the smallest prime factor of such a semi-prime would be 7. Question 92. What is the remainder when 100 is divided by 7? So 100 divided by 7 is 14, remainder 2, and there you go, the remainder is 2. Question 93. If an integer n is odd, what is the parity of n squared? So that's simply asking, if you square the number, is it odd or even? Well, an odd squared is odd times odd, which is odd, and therefore the parity of the square is odd. Question 94. If an integer n is even, what is the parity of n squared plus n? So, even squared gives you an even, and then you add another even, and you get an even. Okay, question 95. If all squares are rectangles and all rectangles are polygons, must all squares be polygons? The answer is yes. Question 96. If no animals are fish and all whales are mammals, can any whale be a fish? I mean, I know that the answer is no, but let me just think about it. Yes, I'm certain it's no. Question 97. If all zips are zaps and no zaps are zops, can any zip be a zop? Okay. So you do I inside A, and you say no A or O. Okay, so the answer to this one is no. Question 98. If some cats are black and all black animals are nocturnal, must some cats be nocturnal? Yes, some cats must be nocturnal. Question 99. If the statement all birds can fly is false, what is the smallest possible number of birds that cannot fly? 1. Question 100. If P implies Q and Q is false, what must be the truth value of P? P must be false.